Well, there's so much concern and buzz around how AI is going to take everybody's jobs away, right? Like it's going to replace your job, it's going to do this. And, you know, again, I want to flip that problem statement and say it's not going to take your jobs away. It's going to minimize your value if you don't know how to use it.
Hey guys, ladies and gentlemen, today we are with Adam DiStefano, who's accompanying us from SignalSyft. So he is basically the founder, and we will be discussing his journey, his ambitions, and his plans going forward. So first of all, hi Adam, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, thank you for having me, man.
So Adam, can you tell me a bit about your background? So who is Adam DiStefano as a professional?
Yeah, sure. That's a loaded question, huh? Well, first and foremost, I'm a father of four. Live here in the Richmond, Virginia area. I work in the cybersecurity space by trade. So I've worked for a lot of different companies, WWE, Nielsen Media, Riskified. So I've worked in that space for quite some time. And then starting around 2021, you started to see like this global push towards like this AI buzzword, right? Like I would hear vendors contact me all the time, like, oh, our product uses AI. And then I would start asking them questions like, "Oh, you use AI? Oh, yeah. Well, we do statistical analysis." I'm like, "So you do machine learning? Like you're not really doing AI, right?" But because I started hearing all these buzzwords, I'm like, I got to start learning a little bit more about this. So I actually went to school through the University of Texas postgraduate program to learn a little bit about artificial intelligence. I got my postgraduate certificate in that from a development standpoint. But I'll be honest, I'm not a programmer. I'm not a developer. I don't play one on TV. I don't pretend to be, right? But really, my motivation for learning about it was I wanted to understand the risks. Like, how do I think about AI in terms of cybersecurity? And really, it's a unique angle because there's not a lot of people in the cybersecurity space at that time, anyway, that were really well versed in artificial intelligence, machine learning, and then blending their cybersecurity knowledge with it. So it's not just how do we use AI, how do we, leverage it in our tooling, but how do we protect against the risks that it introduces? So that was really the catalyst for me learning about AI. And then, 2022, I think the world changed with the introduction of ChatGPT, and now everybody's an AI expert, right?
Definitely, definitely. I will drag you back to WWE though. How was your experience with that?
It was an experience. It was an experience. I learned a lot. I have a great manager. Funny enough, my manager who brought me into cybersecurity, I'm actually a pure play cybersecurity guy. So I started my career in cybersecurity in 2017. A lot of the people that were working in cybersecurity before 2017
Yeah.
kind of saw the void, right? Like they worked in systems, they worked in networking, but they knew their company started thinking about cybersecurity as like
Yeah.
this area, this huge gap. So you started to see like a lot of systems people coming in to fill that gap, or people with different technology backgrounds coming in to fill those roles. Where I didn't come from any of that. I came from teaching karate, man. So, I'm pure play cybersecurity. I don't think in 2015 I even knew how to turn on a computer, much less, how to secure it. But in 2014, I actually tore my hamstrings, and that kind of put a damper on my career for martial arts. And I was like, okay, well, this isn't going to work anymore. What do I want to be when I grow up? Now, when I had the karate school, I also did a lot of executive protection. So I did some bodyguarding and worked, a security gig on the side. So, from my mindset, it was like, all right, well, I'm teaching people how to protect themselves. I'm actually protecting people. If I can just take these principles that I already know about security and just apply them to zeros and ones, it may be an easy transition. And it really was. I mean, the mindset of security is the same no matter what the asset is you're protecting, right? It's minimize your gaps and exposure so the adversaries can't capitalize on.
True, true. How does cybersecurity play a role there?
Well, it's interesting as you start looking at some of the news stories that are coming out. We just had a big one that my company that I work for during my day job, as I'm building this business, uncovered like North Korean workers that were coming in disguised as legitimate employees and were exfiltrating data to, North Korea for nefarious purposes. So you're starting to see that happening in the space. But then you also have, with things like ChatGPT or AI assisted interviews,
Yeah.
you're starting to see people who interview really, really well, but when it comes time to perform the job, they have no idea what they're doing.
That's true. Adam, while you were thinking of this business idea, were you able to, did you have multiple ideas before getting in touch with AI product, or were you already laser focused on this? What happened? Tell us the story.
So I have notebooks full of ideas, man. Like I've been doing this for years, like coming up with billion-dollar ideas. One of the ideas I had was about a year and a half before anybody actually did it. And it's a huge market, right? It's in the cybersecurity space for AI. And the problem was I'm not a developer. I couldn't build this thing. I flew home. I'm from New York originally. I flew home to New York. I met with a couple guys that were going to put in sweat equity, but nobody really wants to do the work, right? For free. They want to be compensated up front. They can't see the forest through the trees. It's like,
Yeah.
guys, if we get this built, you're going to have more money than you know what to do with.
Did we reach out to you? Did we find you on social media somewhere, or you happened to come across our post? What happened?
I saw a post and, I was like, well, let me find out what this is all about because there's so many like incubators or, code camps and all these things that are out there. And, I had a conversation with one of the sales reps and we built instantaneous rapport. I think he understood what it was I was trying to accomplish. And, I'm not a tech neophyte. Like I know how to build things in a sense, like a vision. I have a vision. I know what needs to go into it. Like I said, I'm not a coder. I'm not going to sit there and figure out, I don't need curly brackets chasing me around in my sleep because my code won't work. Right. Like that's just not my background, man. But like I know problems and I know how to map technology to solve those problems,
Yeah.
but it's really the process I was looking for. Like, it's not teach me how to code so I can build this platform. Like, I could figure that out in 2025, man. Vibe coding's a thing now.
And the
Like days of developing SaaS applications. Yeah, I had this conversation with a friend of mine the other day. I was talking about SaaS, right? Like SaaS in a sense is going to be dead because why are you going to pay for a full SaaS platform for 30% of its functionality when you can vibe code your own program without paying huge licensing fees that solve 100% of your problem? Like
That's right.
it's gone and the technology is here for anybody to be able to do it now.
Yeah, that's quite a statement, Adam. I have a question, Adam. When you talk about your experiences, first of all, they're very extensive. Your resume is probably 1,000 times more impressive than average people. Let's be honest. Not everyone gets the chance to work with such big companies and literally on a director level. But if you could give an advice to someone 10 years younger than you, 15 years younger than you, regarding AI and understanding the need of it, what would that be?
Well, there's so much concern and buzz around how AI is going to take everybody's jobs away, right? Like it's going to replace your job, it's going to do this. And, again, I want to flip that problem statement and say it's not going to take your jobs away. It's going to minimize your value if you don't know how to use it. Understanding what's possible is no longer in the theoretical. There's nothing that's impossible in the direction we're going. So like if you have a vision, AI is a great tool to validate that vision, help you execute on that vision, really give you that clarity. And then, honestly, it all comes down to a level of like discipline, man. Like you got to be disciplined, focused, and driven. Like as much as AI is there as a tool to help you get where you need to be, you still have to take action, right?
Yeah.
So my advice is, educate yourself. Nothing is impossible and take consistent action and have a success coach, somebody to hold you accountable. Like you cannot be a team of one without having somebody to help guide you along the way and talk about your problems and figure out how to drive through. Because listen, the world is full of problems and speed bumps and everything else. And it's very hard to know how to drive forward without having somebody there with fresh eyes, right? A different perspective, to kind of help you see the problem from outside the frame.
Yeah.
And then, really, push forward.
Understood. Understood, Adam. Adam, there's one question I do need to ask. That is more on a personal scale. That's regarding your work-life balance. So I read your profile as well. I was going through your previous notes too. So I was just trying to understand that you do your 9 to 5 as well as working on this product. Is that true?
I do.
How do you manage time for your 4 kids?
So I do my 9 to 5.
Yeah.
I have a very supportive wife. And again, there's sacrifices we all have to make, man. And when I'm telling you for the past 2.5 months, maybe less than that now, I mean, it's 16 8-hour days every single day because, there's the old expression, don't let perfect or don't let perfect be the enemy of good, right? Or don't let good be the enemy of perfect. Whatever way that goes, I don't know which way that goes, but I am an absolute perfectionist, and I hold myself to a very high standard in whatever I do. And through the grace of God, He's given me a wonderful, supportive wife. My children are my why, right? Like, that's why. It's not how, it's why. Don't have to, I think people need to understand, like, you have to get to your why. The how will figure itself out, but once you identify your why, that there it is.
Wow, very inspirational, to be honest. Yeah, I'm just making notes right now. What should I be doing going forward in life? Thank you so much, Adam, for the honesty. On to your goals then, Adam. Where do you see your progress going forward? Where do you see it going? Just honesty.
I don't know. And that's part of the journey, and that's what keeps me excited. Because if we knew our destination, would we be motivated to get there? Because it may not be what you hope it would be, but only God knows, man. Only God knows, and it's out of my control. I'm a passenger in this ride. I'm not driving the car.
Definitely. These were pretty much all the questions that we needed to ask for our podcast. But did you get a chance to meet any one of those, any one of the wrestlers?
I shared an elevator with the Undertaker. He is a refrigerator with legs. He is humongous. I saw Triple H quite often because he was an executive there. So I mean, I saw him in the building quite often. Stephanie and Vince I'd see all the time. But I probably didn't even know because, like I said, I don't watch the product.
You were so enthusiastic about your field, your industry, and your product. Honestly, it's gonna be viral.
I hope so.
We both do. Take care of yourself, Adam. Take care. Thank you so much.
Man, be good.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye bye.